Velocity, on the other hand, is a different methodology. So if we look at how it works in the economy, it's just the GDP, or the output, gross domestic product, divided by the money supply. So the more times money exchanges hands through serving others, solving problems, delivering goods, creating experiences, it's not the end of the dollar's life. It can continue to exchange. The more times it exchanges, the more velocity. Money can be complicated. Let a nerd help you. We're here to demystify the complex nature of money by getting you answers from financial nerds and whiz kids. Welcome to Ask the Money Nerds, a weekly segment of the Wealth Labs podcast where we answer your most pressing money questions. On today's episode of Ask the Money Nerds, I want you to ponder this question. Imagine you had like a fast food business selling hamburgers, fries, and drinks. So what has the best margin of those three, and which has the worst margin? I mean, how much do you make on hamburgers versus drinks? So even though the margin is really low on hamburgers, you might make a few cents, right? Where drinks have a huge margin. I mean, mostly whatever's coming in is profit. If you stop selling those hamburgers, you sell less drinks. Turnover, also known as velocity, is the key to creating more wealth. So cash flow is king. It is key. And how things coordinate and improve each other makes a huge difference with your returns. So let's apply this to investing and how this applies to allocating your money and getting more velocity so you can create more return. All right, this will be a unique topic. What's up, Stova?
I think so. I'm curious because you were in your intro, you were talking about fast food as an example. We're pretty healthy people, but what's your favorite fast food restaurant? Like, I'm in a hurry, I'm craving something. What's your go-to?
It's going to be between In-N-Out because it's faster than Five Guys. In-N-Out or Five Guys?
Okay.
How about you?
Five Guys is good. I would say Chipotle or Chick-fil-A.
Like Chipotle is somewhat healthy for fast food.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A,
yeah,
I'm not really
not
a Chick-fil-A
so much
guy.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
There's always this like big debate on like if you're a strips or a chicken nugget fan. I go for the nuggets.
Does it really make a difference?
They taste different. They're very different. I mean, I don't get too far into it. I don't visit all that
guy.
often.
Like chicken's a filthy animal. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not really big on chicken.
Well, now I feel like I need to change my answer. No.
Like I'm just becoming a walking cliche. I mean, I just grew my hair long because I like long hair and I don't have to really worry about getting it cut or anything.
Yeah.
But now I'm eating less meat. I'm afraid I'm gonna start doing yoga, and my son gave me a backhanded
You're
compliment.
gonna start making homemade kombucha.
Yeah,
and
he's like, Dad, you know, he's like, those man buns are stupid looking. I mean, yours is not so bad. Because that day I had it pulled back. I'm like, I'll take it. Not so bad.
You always you can rely on the kiddos to be brutally honest, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So Jared's question, he's going to give us some numbers and insights into a situation. So hang in there. As I've operated my business, I have struggled with the correct thing to do for buying equipment each year. Our business profit has largely gone to buying equipment to operate our business and building our inventory. I've had the mindset that if I had a certain amount of money, for example, $100,000, I'm better to finance a piece of equipment and keep the money to invest in our inventory. My feeling has been that if a loan was 5 years at 5.5% interest, we would pay approximately $15,000 in interest over the life of the note.
Okay.
However, if that $100,000 is your cost of goods and the selling amount is $140,000-ish, on a 30% margin, and a business can net 10% at the end of the year, that $100,000 would make $14,000 profit, which is less than the interest, but the machine can be depreciated.
That's for tax purpose, yeah.
Yep. Whereas the inventory asset cannot. The major benefit to financing the equipment, though, that I have felt is that many times you turn your inventory a year. So if you can turn at least 3 times a year, now the profit would be $42,000 or so, and then times that by the 5-year loan, it generates an approximate additional profit of $210,000. This number far exceeds the $15,000 in interest. I feel like I'm missing something crucial with this equation because it seems like the overhead of the payments does get to be stressful. Please advise or shed some light on my perspective.
Let's start with the differentiating economics and peace of mind.
Okay, that's a good place to start.
You are your greatest asset, not a stock bond or piece of real estate or piece of equipment or anything like that. So if you start feeling stress and that scarcity starts to stifle your ability to be creative or productive, you lose sleep, it starts to harm your health, the whole thing starts to topple and starts to become problematic long term, right? So when you have peace of mind, you can be more abundant. You can have more energy. You have a better lifestyle. And I think it sucks to try to sacrifice for one day someday. I'm like, I'm just going to do this for now, even though I hate it, because one day it's going to be better. But then all of a sudden we just get addicted to doing the things that we hate and trading our time and life for something that we don't really want. So I don't believe in inviting unnecessary stress. Now, economics is the other side. So some things people might have peace of mind with, like, oh, I put money in my retirement plan. It's, I get a free money match. I don't have to pay taxes. Okay, that's peace of mind, but you're going to get a rude awakening one day when you find out you have to pay taxes when you get that money out. There's a lot of fees that are riddled in that. The government's addicted to spending money, and you're probably going to get it taxed at a higher rate sometime in the future. And inflation, like I could go through a million things that are probably the surprise. But the economics are just looking at just basics, right? Like if I could earn 5% on my money, but I have a 10% loan, I should pay off that loan and I get a guaranteed 100% improvement. Because if I'm paying 5 and if I'm saving 5%, so let me say that better. Okay. So if I got 5 right now that I'm earning, but I'm paying 10, that's double the interest.
Yeah.
That's a 100% markup from 5 to 10.
Right.
I pay that off. Yes, it's only a 5% spread, but it's a 100% margin, right? So that would make a lot of sense to pay that off. I'd also have the peace of mind. So we want to look at the economics and the peace of mind, have those two things marry. And so that you're going, okay, I feel really good about what I'm doing, which means narrowing down your options and making personal finance personal to really understand what you're doing. Now, the next thing that's important is understanding accumulation, which most people are stuck in with their money, and velocity, which is how the economy works, especially when it's working well.
Yeah. So
accumulation, very simple methodology. It says, hey, Stolba, if you want wealth in the future, you got to do 3 things. Can you guess what these 3 things are?
Save.
Yep. Got to put money away. And I'm sure you've heard it takes money to make money. And that's what people that want your money tell you.
Oh, totally.
Right. So it's all about how much can you save. Right. So second thing is what needs to happen to that savings for you to get rich in the future.
What do you, I'm not sure.
Got to have an interest rate on it.
Yes, interest.
I just trying to see if you pay attention to it, because I've taught this like at every wealth acceleration workshop.
Yes.
Wealth equals money times rate times time.
Yes, and time.
So it's money that you put away, the interest that you get on it.
I should totally know that. I've heard you say like 100 times.
That's why I'm thinking, like I wasn't tricking you.
Context.
I was just, And so a lot of people believe to get a higher rate of return, you got to take more risk. But that's, once again, a myth that's out there. And then the last piece is time. The best thing comes to those who wait. Compound interest will save you. Wait for 30 years. And so that's accumulation. That's a very slow, dogmatic track, riddled with risk and not enough return. Velocity, on the other hand, is a different methodology. So if we look at how it works in the economy, it's just the GDP, or the output, gross domestic product, divided by the money supply. So the more times money exchanges hands, through serving others, solving problems, delivering goods, creating experiences. It's not the end of the dollar's life. It can continue to exchange. The more times it exchanges, the more velocity. So the way we want to create velocity is keep the money supply fixed, which they're not doing, but and then increase the output. How do you increase the output? Value creation and exchange. So that's turnover in his example. When he's getting the things to turn over, inventory turns over 3 times in the year. Now he's not just getting, 14%, he's getting 40 some percent, right? Much better.
So you're saying basically everything that you've just said has been the opposite of what has happened in the world in the first part of 2020. Right? Like the amount of money has not been fixed. We haven't been exchanging with one another.
Exchanging less.
We've, in some ways, have created less value for communities in the world.
Right.
This is a problem.
We've mandated that less value happen.
Yeah.
We categorize people as essential and non-essential. We, there's a lot
to it there.
There's a lot that happened there that slowed down value. There's a lot of fear that was involved. There's a lot of uncertainty that's involved. There's a lot of differing opinions, and when people say, well, look at the science, I'm trying. Okay.
Yes.
Like that would be nice if we had a consistent viewpoint on that. But that really created a lot of disruption with less exchange, and they added cash to try to infuse it. But it doesn't necessarily help. It actually can be a problem because it devalues what's already here. So as we look at the situation here, getting 5% 3 times rather than accumulating at one time, super valuable. Now, this is what I did early on in my investing life when I don't have the time for this anymore, nor do I want to do it. But what I did is I had this hard money lending that I invested in, which was we did short-term bridge financing before people went and got their long-term loans, and we charged a pretty high interest rate. So I was earning about 12% on those loans.
Okay. I'd
get them paid monthly. So I took that and I made that monthly to acquire real estate. That monthly would pay for that mortgage on that real estate. Then I would rent the real estate out. Then I would take the rental income from the real estate and I would put it inside of cash flow banking or cash value insurance. And then when the cash value got big enough, I'd use a down payment and buy another property. When there was equity, I would put it into the hard money lending.
Wow.
That would kick off interest. It would pay back the cash value. And that's velocity. I had 5 turns on my money.
Wow.
So I was thinking more as cash flow than accumulation. When I first started in finance, I was all about funding my retirement plans and saving everything I possibly could and deferring, enjoyment and happiness or whatever it was. All
Because you have more hobbies now in your life than you did back then.
I definitely have a lot more hobbies and a lot more enjoyment and fulfillment, Not that I'm perfect by any means, and my wife and kids can definitely tell you that, and so can Stolba. They could share some of those stories. But I'm focused on, building a life I love and sharing more love with the world and understanding that, hey, like typically, we're not going to learn this kind of stuff. We don't get some money manual when we're born. And if we did, it was probably written by Wall Street. And it's all about how to separate yourself from your money. And all we do is get taught, trained, and educated to set money aside, set it, forget it, invest early, often, and always. You're in it for the long haul, dollar cost average. All these kind of memes and notions and cliches that don't lead to long-term sustainable wealth. And here in this question, we're learning about turnover.
Yes.
We're learning about if he finances equipment and gets depreciation and he's measuring what is it costing me versus what am I earning? And then also taking into consideration, what does that do to your mindset?
Yeah.
For some people, just paying off the loan is freedom for them. And paying off that loan and using cash to pay that off allows them to be more productive. For others, they feel like it's paid off as long as they could get access to that cash and pay it off.
Yeah.
So it's a personal preference here. It's a methodology that matters for the individual.
Yeah.
And I would never have someone keep a loan if it stifled their enjoyment or that they lost sleep or it caused tension in their marriage. And that's why I think a lot of financial gurus frustrate me, is because they either go, you need a 30-year mortgage, there's tax write-offs and you can earn more. Or they go, you need to be a 15-year, do biweekly payments and pay this off as soon as possible because once it's paid off, life is better. And it's not that simple.
Yeah.
It comes down to the dynamics of an individual and what they're doing. So in this question, it's what helps you to be most productive as an individual. He's got the right assessments. He's got the right information here. So now it's just about personal preference.
Yes.
Right? Any of the 3 ways is fine.
And money, it's a good reminder that money is not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and this feels overwhelming, like running the numbers in your head and you're wondering what's going on, it's okay. Just listen again. We're on a process of learning, and it's
and get
great.
some resources. We got wealthfactory.com/megakit.
Yep.
Killing Sacred Cows is the book that will help you to overcome the myths.
Yes.
Things like high risk equals high return, or you're in it for the long haul, or all those notions, so that you can really get an understanding of why you're being taught that and how to make a different choice. Want to master your money? Want to figure out the things that you could do to improve your finances? Click here and check out more videos like this on Money Matters.